Did you know that they can X-ray flowers? Well, when we saw the art, we absolutely loved it. And that's been the focus of X-ray flowers. The whole collection is what we're going to explore today with Teresa's beautiful designs. Hey, come on, come play with us. Well, before we get started on the projects, let me just briefly show you what's in the collection, as though you couldn't guess. But these are the 12 by 12 pattern cardstock. There are 12 sheets, also 60 cutouts. That's great. Ideas, of course, are on the packaging because these are from hot off the press. Now we have coordinating solid cardstock, also in 12 by 12, 12 colors on 12 sheets, and you're going to see those as we go through the projects. Then there's also 6 by 6 X-ray flowers, 24 sheets. You get 4 of each design and 120 cutouts. Wow. 31 die cuts. These are larger, of course, than the cutouts, and you're going to have 31 of them on 2 different sheets. Then finally, the thing that brings the magic is the X-ray flowers cutting dies. There are 17 of them, yes, a whole bunch, with stems and the calyx, the leaves, and then the flowers, the petals. And there are some ideas right there on the package, so just to make that super easy. Now let me show you the very first card, and we'll start here and get in closer so you can really see this slimline card. And we do have the slimline cards, I'm sure you know that, but just in case someone doesn't, it comes in a pack of 10 cards and 10 envelopes, and that makes it easy to make the card. Again, we'll get in a bit closer just so you can really see this. Now what Teresa did is she chose the 12 by 12 paper to go on this, and she did mat or she did cover the card with black cardstock. So let me just show you that black right there so you can really see it. And then she took this sheet, this is the top sheet of the package, and she used it to go on the top of her card. So you can see how that artwork matches, just to show you. So she did trim that down. Speaking of trimming, down below you will see an image of each of the 4 cards that Teresa has done. And there will be you can just click on it, then you go to it, there'll be directions, you can print them off if you want to, and I know many of you like that option. So this is going to get cut and trimmed and placed right there. So that's going to start our card. Then she has used the cutouts that are on the package. Now remember I said there are 60. Well, here is 1 sheet and you get 2 of these, plus there's some more. So You Brighten My Day is right here. This one is right next to it, and Teresa put some dazzles in it, and the dazzles that she chose are the card inside outside. So the thank you, I think you can almost see it right there, is what she's used, and then the butterflies, the little hearts, those are part of the package. Now on top of this, she used one of the die cuts, and again, like I said, they are larger than the cutouts, and it's from this sheet, and she used this piece. And I love how versatile these borders are. You can see that she's placed it right here. And then she added a border, and this comes from the 96 Fancy border. So there's 96 in this package. She used 1 right here, so you'll have lots going for you. Then she added the black jewel dazzles, and you can see that they're just in the center of that border. She also placed a couple on either side of that heart and then into the center of the butterflies too. Then for further accents, she added the monochrome pearls from Hunky Dory, and you can see it goes from white to gray to black. She used them right there. Now for the inside of her card, so she's got very much the pinks and the purples on the front. On the inside she went blue, and the blue also comes from a 12 by 12 sheet. This is what it looks like, and she used the top part of it, and you can see these little pieces that are flowing up there. That's where she used on the inside, and that worked very nicely. Now these 2 are also part of the cutouts. So let me show you Life is Better with You, and then this piece she put horizontally, or excuse me, vertically, and then also add another border that she did in the front, more butterflies, more black jewel dazzles, and again, this is matted on black, so is that, and so is that. So she did use the black cardstock throughout. So that is her first card, a Slim Glide card, just really nice. Now let me show you my very favorite card. I absolutely love this. Isn't that gorgeous? Now you're really getting the feeling of the X-ray flowers. And we did bring in vellum because we knew we were doing the X-ray. So we wanted to make sure that you had something to get that X-ray look. And Jeanette's having fun with the camera to give you a very close-up look. Now, what this is going to use is a couple of different things, but let me first start with the paper, because as usual, that is our base. And what Teresa used is this brown, it's kind of looks like a woven sheet, and it's on the back of our yellow flowers. So she has used that on the front of her card. Then she did a strip of the green solid cardstock and placed it there. And then she used the thin line dazzles, one of our favorite tools, to go at the top and bottom of that solid cardstock, and then a little one on the inside. So just really, really pretty, nicely defined. Now into what's going on here. We're going to start with that cutting die. When you click on it down below, you're going to see an image like this, and it's going to say out of stock. Well, it is out of stock right now, but it's on order, and so we do expect to be getting that. Well, you'll know if you leave your email address, you'll know the moment it arrives. So that is coming, and Teresa has die cut it out of 2 shades of the brown, and that, of course, is in our cardstock set. And you will get the light brown on one side, the dark brown on the other. So she's die cut it twice and then kind of overlap them. And of course, she's going to apply them with sticky specs because that's just going to make everything easier. Now, let's get into the flowers. And as I said, this is the cutting die. So you get all of those pieces. It would be good to have a craft mat. I am not sure if Teresa listed it in her supplies, but let me just bring one in, and I hope I can still find my pieces, oh, there we are, of vellum that were die cut. And by the way, our vellum packs are 8.5 by 11, and you get 4 sheets. So that's just going to, you're going to do a lot with that. So when you die cut them out, so that's how they're going to be. And what we recommend, and again, in order to get that look, is to use a blending brush and the ink pads. In this case, it's the tangerine that's going to get that orange look. And you'll notice that it's not solidly colored. It's just on around the edges, just so pretty. So she's done 2 of them in the tangerine, 1 in the buttercup, right there. And then she's used the khaki to go over the stems and leaves. The stems and leaves were die cut out of the green cardstock. So that's solid cardstock. So that's what she used. And on the green, you're going to get a dark green on one side and a lighter green on the other. So that will give you lots of options. So just, I know you know this, I know you've done it 400 times, but just in case this is new to anyone, you'll take your blending brush and you'll take your vellum. So it's been die cut out of the white vellum. We're going to just tip that, hold it, and starting from the outside, just brush. And that's going to bring the ink into the vellum. As you can see, it will be darker on the edges, which is exactly what we want, exactly what we want. So just as I said, working from the outside. Now, it's fine to have my finger on the tip because that's going to get covered. But if that bothers you, just flip this little baby around and add some more ink to the bottom, again, coming from the outside edge, okay? Then these, you don't really need to curve them like you do sometimes when you're doing cardstock. They're just going to be placed, and you can use lots of different ideas. You can follow what Teresa's done, and like I said, they are on the package, and they're even numbered with which petals were used. So isn't that just gorgeous? Absolutely gorgeous. And the leaves will just go in place. You can tuck them in afterwards. Regular glue, our Cosmic Shimmer Specialist glue will work just fine. So that's a nice bonus. So there we go. Now, the other things that are going on, let me get this out of the way, is with those butterflies and the bow. So the bow is out of the ivory ribbon. You could probably guess that that would be the one that Teresa would use. And the butterflies, well, they come from our Butterfly Dazzles. And she did put these that have the open wings, she did place them on vellum, and then she used the 4.5-inch professional scissors to just cut along the edge of the dazzle. That way she could glue them onto her card and let the wings be free. So you can do like that, or you can glue them down totally, however you like. She chose to put the glue in the center because that way it's going to be hidden and it won't show under the vellum, but you can see it doesn't show under that vellum. Gorgeous, I love this card. Now on the inside, look what she's done. Now this is another one of the cutouts from the paper pack. And you can see, so you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you also get some greetings. Now what Teresa has done is she has taken the yellow one and she has done yet just one of the X-ray flowers, and I think that is just beautiful because it really has that white behind it and it stands out. A note to say hi, well, that comes out of our die cuts. And here it is, a note to say hi. She's foam taped it. This is more of those Butterfly Dazzles, so that just finishes it. And you can see the calyx is there. So your sequence would be perhaps to put your stem first, then layer and put your flowers or your petals, then the calyx and the leaf right there. So I hope you like that. I think it's just gorgeous. Okay, so that's my favorite, just in case you couldn't tell. One thing I wanted to show you, and I showed this on the product video. So every time we release a collection, I always do a product video that is on every single project or product that's in the collection. So this is that same sheet that I just showed you. And what this indicates is just a suggestion for the ink pads. Now you can do anything that you want. In fact, what I think is fun is that Teresa did use the Buttercup by Hunky Dory, but you could have used the Spectrum Noir Honey Pot. That would have worked also. So if it says HD, that's Hunky Dory. Otherwise, it says Spectrum Noir. So there's some suggestions. And here are some suggestions for these. So just kind of gives you a starting point, and that's what we were going for, is to be as helpful as possible. But feel free to do whatever you like, of course, as always. Okay, here we go for our next card. We'll get back into this. And you can see this is our regular 5 by 6.5-inch card. This is an easel card. I hope you can see. And how pretty the X-ray flowers look in that circle. Do you like it? I like it. That really gives you a look where you can see how she just did the edges of the vellum. And she just did the edges this time on those leaves too, and also on the calyx. So that's interesting. So what Teresa did is, to begin with, she folded just her card front in half. Be careful not to have it go over the fold because you want this to be separate and to stand up. Then she used the circle cutting dies. This is the set that we have. And you want to use a 3.25 inch circle. At least that's what Teresa used. So she placed the circle there. You know what? Let me back up for just a moment because I forgot to put the paper on. How foolish of me. Okay, this is the paper that she used. We're in the 6 by 6 collection right now. And you can see, as these patterns match up, that that's exactly what she used. Now, this piece gets trimmed down, and Teresa edged it with the blending tool and royal blue out of the Prism ink pads. And I thought it was interesting just for you to take a look at what it looks like inked and not inked. It really just adds more of a definition. I'm hoping you can see that. I can. Shake your head if you can, okay? Well, good. Now, so she's going to trim that down, and what she did is she cut it into 2 pieces. She really doesn't like the paper going over the fold. She feels like it could crumple or crinkle, and so she always has it as 2 pieces that kind of meet in the center but do not overlap. So that's why you fold it first, then cut your paper, ink your paper, then glue your paper. Okay, now we're going to go back to that 3 1/4 inch circle, which is what she used to cut out her paper covered card. Okay, now at that point you will have a circle that we're not going to use. You can save that for something else. Okay, then to create this top piece, she used a couple of things. One of them is going to be a sheet of acetate. That's going to hold our flower in place. So she used a 4 1/4 inch circle. She cut it out of acetate. Acetate is back here. Then she took the 4 1/4, same one, and put a 3 1/4 circle inside it and ran it through. And that way you're going to get a circle frame, okay? Then she cut the 3 1/4 is going to stay there, but then she's going to put the scallop around it, and that way you can get this scalloped edge, which she cut out of the lavender. And here is what that cardstock looks like. So it's this shade on one side and it's darker on the other side. So that's how we get so many colors in with our solid cardstocks. So this piece is going to be attached at the bottom, only at the bottom half. It's going to get glued straight onto our die cut card, just like that. Okay, now the here you go, the Just For You, well, that comes out of our cutouts in the 6x6. There it is. It's a nice shape, isn't it? And that got foam taped and attached just to the corner. Now you see those shiny top and bottom? Okay, you can probably guess what that is. That is our straight line, colorful dazzles. You get the wider and the narrower pieces, and you can see how pretty that color is onto the card. So it just takes a little bit to just add that. Now, that's got our card and our circle, but we haven't done our flowers yet. Now, obviously, the flowers are from the cutting die, as you can see. And you can see this one is pretty much what was done right here. And then a smaller one looks to me like it might be this one, or it might be this one. Again, your choice. Now, let me get this so we get some white behind it. There we go, so you can see what's going on. There we go. I think maybe it's better that way. So when Teresa was die cutting her flowers again, she's using the inks. This time she used orchid on the edges of her petals, and she used shamrock, which is really a bright green, on the stems, the calyx, and the leaves. So that's nice. So 2 flowers. I love how it overlaps. Everything is really supporting those beautiful blossoms. Now her ribbon is, or her bow is from the white ribbon set, and then she put the blue pearls on top. Now the blue goes from a very pale blue to almost a navy blue, but she has one in the middle of her bow, which makes really nice. So the front of her card is very purples and pinks. When we go to the inside of her card, it's very pink. Now she did the same thing where she took a 6x6, and it is the purple. It's kind of a purpley pink. And she has trimmed it to fit. Again, the measurements will be down below in the directions. And then she inked the edges with the orchid again, just like she did the flowers. She has one flower right there, just peeking up from the corner. It works really nicely with the papers, the way they're trimmed. And then Life is Better With You. Well, that comes from that same cutout sheet. It's been foam taped and lifted up. And as always, we self-mat them for you, so you don't have to do that extra step. So really nice. I think the X-ray flowers are just so pretty in that opening with the window with the acetate backing. Oh, so nice. Okay, I have one more card for you, and this is called a corner tuck card. So it's a little, whoops, it got untucked. Let me tuck this little baby back. Okay, there we go. Now you can see that Teresa has used that, well, let me start with her card. So it is the 5 by 6.5. The fold is at the top. Then she has cut off 2 inches off the front of her card, okay? And then here is what she used. Now you might think that she would have used a 6 by 6, but she didn't. She used a 12 by 12. And this is the lavender sheet. And she's used kind of the ghosted images to go at the top. And she has trimmed them slightly smaller than the card. Again, measurements are down below. Then she matted the cutouts. Let's see. There we go. And this one that she used is this one. So she has turned it on its side, and she used to color those flowers, she used the vintage rose, which is just a really pretty. And then surprisingly to me, she used holly green. So that's interesting. So like the one of the cards where the flower was kind of just by itself in the center, this time she elected to overlap them a bit, to let them bleed into the art. Now she did mat this piece onto the purple solid cardstock, and here it is. So you can see that is right there. And glued it so that it's even with the top of the pattern paper. Now, to be a little fancy, which our Teresa does, she added the fancy border dazzles. Now these, there's just a ton of them in this package, and you can see that this pink pearl is what she's used right there, and then a narrower one right here. And this piece is overlapping that card, that cutout card, as you can see. Okay, so what it is about the tuck, well, that's this little piece. And here is the download. And for those of you who have requested, I have written the measurements to try to help you. So you do trace that, cut it out, and then on the back side, you want to put the extra sticky tape and place it just along the folds, okay? Then this is what's going to be holding that as a corner, and that is going to go on the inside of our card. But first, we need to put paper there. So this is the sheet that Teresa has selected. It's a small pattern, which many of these have a small pattern on the back side. So she has placed it there. The corner is going to go right here, and it stays open. That's why you use the extra sticky tape to close it, and just put your glue around that to just put it in place. That way it's going to stay. Or you could put extra sticky tape there too. That might be a good idea, as a matter of fact. Then she's given you a paper pattern to go on top, okay, so that you can decorate it. Now, to go on the inside here, she has a cutout from the sheet, as you have seen before, but she also used the big cutout, the happy birthday, but she also used a bigger piece of vellum. She kind of matted it on the vellum and then glued everything in. Now you don't have to glue the vellum down. It will stay, so put this piece, just mat it as you normally would, glue this, then cut the vellum out, and then just put glue behind this happy birthday and attach it to your card. Add another of the fancy border dazzles there, a smaller one there, a narrower one, and you've got your card, and this just tucks right in. So it makes something a little different, and you might want to tuck something else in that little pocket too, if you like. Okay, that is our grouping of the X-ray flowers. So again, we have the 12 by 12 paper, we have the solid cardstock, we have the 6 by 6. We did not do chipboard this time, but we will later. So that's what's going on. We've got the die cuts and also the cutting die. Wonderful. Now, as you might guess, the part where we are is I'm going to talk about if you are interested in getting our collections as we release once every month, and at the end of the month we do a webisode on them. But if you want to receive them, all of them, if you would like everything except the cutting die, you want all of the papers, the die cuts, also all of that, we have a subscription called I Want It All. Just click on the right side of the screen and you will see it. If you really want it all, and I mean including the cutting die, just use that subscription and click on that. You will receive every collection, and you will receive them before we do the webisode. That way you get a chance to look at them and maybe add a comment if you like, and that's fun to do. Now, speaking of saving you money, and that's what the subscriptions do, they save you 20%. If you would like to get all of this, there is a money saver. Also on the right-hand side of your screen, there's 3 things over there, and there will be a discount for you. Now, I hope that you love this collection. We are very excited. We wanted to make sure we had everything in place so that we've got the vellum, we've got the new ink pads, blending brushes, everything for you so that your look, you can really accomplish this X-ray flower look. I thought it was fun. Tell me what you think. By the way, I want to thank Teresa for doing, as always, a wonderful job. And I want to thank you for joining us. If you're seeing this on YouTube, we hope you'll like us and subscribe. Come on over to Paper Wishes. Check out the printed instructions that are down below and take advantage of the Money Saver or the subscriptions. We invite you to be part of our Paper Wishes family. See you next time.